Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon, our beloved lecturer, Professor Dr. Dwi Rukmini MPD. Also good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, my fellow classmates of Semantics class. I am Nur Rahman as the first speaker, along with my partner, Mr. Dipati Alviugh. We are from Group 4, and for the presentation today, we are going to discuss the materials of Chapter 16 from the book entitled Semantics, a course book. This chapter is talking about dictionaries in the field of semantics. For the first session with me, we will discuss about certain important properties of dictionaries, such as the interconnectedness, the use of certain technical terms and devices, precision, and also the similarity, as well as the dissimilarity between approaches of ordinary dictionary writer and the theoretical linguistic semanticist. Then, for the last part, we will take a look at the example of journal article that is going to be delivered by Mr. Dipati Alviugh as the second speaker. After the presentation, we are also going to have a question and answer session. There will be only 3 up to 4 questions allowed. So if you've got any important question regarding the presentation, feel free to join the group discussion. First, let's take a look at the notion of dictionary discussed in the book. According to Hurford et al., a dictionary is a central part of the description of any language. A good ordinary household dictionary typically gives at least 3 kinds of information about words. First is the phonological information. It's about how the word is pronounced. Second, grammatical information, including syntactical and morphological. It is about the word's part of speech, for example, noun, verb, adjective, and then information about inflections, for example, for plural number or past tense. And the third information given in a dictionary is the semantic information about the word's meaning. Now let's take a look at some slightly edited entries extracted from the Random House Dictionary of the English Language, College Edition 1968, presented in the book. In the following examples, the cases are: underlined is the phonological information, in box brackets is the grammatical information, and the semantic information is left unmarked. For example, for the word green, the phonological information or how the word is pronounced is provided, followed by the grammatical information, that is, the word green belongs to adjective part of speech, and also the meaning of the word or the semantic information left unmarked, that is, the of the color or of the color of growing foliage. And you can take a look at the rest of the examples by yourself. Now we will shift our discussion in the semantic aspects of the kind of dictionary of a language that a linguist would wish to present under the subtopic of dictionary from the standpoint of modern linguistics. The semanticist dictionary writer and the ordinary dictionary writer have quite similar goals, but they differ markedly in their style of approach and the emphasis which they place on their various goals. The dictionary constructed by a semanticist is supposed to represent important aspects of mental knowledge about meaning that any typical native speaker of the language would have. In order to illustrate the kind of dictionary that a semanticist tries to devise, we will first take a look at some properties of a good dictionary, of a good ordinary household dictionary. In the following elaboration of the entry samples taken from a dictionary. If the samples of entries shown in the PowerPoint slide here are not convenient enough to read, please open your book on page 195. There are a few samples extracted from the Concise Oxford Dictionary, 6th edition, 1976, given as the examples. And from these examples, we are going to take a look at the first characteristics of a good dictionary, namely its interconnectedness. The first point to note about all dictionaries is that their definitions are necessarily interconnected. This interconnectedness of dictionary definitions is unavoidable and indeed desirable. Below we have drawn a diagram showing the interconnectedness of the definitions in the previous sample. The rule for drawing arrows is if the definition of X includes Y, draw an arrow from X to Y. For example, between the three words wife, husband, and marry. These three words have close sense or close meaning, and therefore they are interconnected toward each other. In the kind of dictionary that a semanticist would propose as part of the semantic description of a language, there would be the same interconnectedness between the definitions of various predicates, because the semantic dictionary writer's main interest is in representing as completely as possible the knowledge a native speaker has about all of the sense relations between predicates, as has been shown in the diagram drawn above. The sense relation between wife, husband, marry, and then there's sense relation between the words marry, marriage, join, and unite are having close interconnection. The sample from the Concise Oxford Dictionary clearly shows a high degree of circularity. This arises probably from the commonly accepted idea that the goal of a dictionary is to define everything. One cannot define absolutely everything without a degree of circularity in one's definitions. However, semanticist, on the other hand, is more inclined than the ordinary dictionary writer to leave some terms undefined. Such undefined terms are called semantic primes. The nearest equivalent in the ordinary dictionary to the semanticist idea of undefined semantic primes is the use of rather technical, even sometimes abstruse, terms in its definition. The already highlighted words below are the words used in the definitions that have a rather technical or academic flavor. The words whose meanings for the uneducated people would perhaps be not known. For example, the word pistil, stamens, beget, fecundate, genus, homo, procreate, and hermaphrodite. Besides some undefined semantic primes, the main technical device used is the framework of logic, with its connective notation using the symbol of an arrow, the symbol of ampersand, and so on, and also a small set of technical semantic terms, for example, hyponym. These notations about the logical framework and the technical semantic terms used as devices for the purpose of describing meaning or are already explained in the unit 14 and 15 of the same book. For the next part, we are going to discuss about the natural classes of predicates. Please take a look at the following examples for the word sibling and parent. Sibling is a technical term used to refer to someone who is either a brother or a sister. Sibling is to brother and sister what parent is to father and mother. The meaning of sibling contains no concept of sex. Clearly, the two predicates brother and sister form a natural class. That is, they share some component of meaning with each other. It is useful in the description of the relationships between predicates to have a term corresponding to such a natural class, and so semanticists adopt one. We have introduced the notion of natural classes of predicates. Now we move to an essential property of any good dictionary, namely its precision. In order to increase the precision of the meaning description, a dictionary often employs a device for distinguishing closely related senses of the same word. For example, the Concise Oxford Dictionary implements the superscript numbers on the words in some of its definitions. You can take a look at the example human. For the word human, it has 3 senses of meaning, therefore it uses the superscript numbers for each of the senses, and also with the case of the word man. Despite the implementation of a device for increasing its precision, a dictionary could also show the lacks of precision by its frequent use of vague terms, such as etc., more or less, especially, and usually. We can check that all of these vague terms are used in the sample we took from the Concise Oxford Dictionary. You can take a look at the word entry animal. For the meaning description, it uses the vague terms more or less, and also especially in the form of abbreviation apps. And you can find the rest of the examples which are already highlighted. Now, after discussing the notion of dictionary precision, we move to the attempt made by semanticists in making a strict demarcation between a dictionary and an encyclopedia, or clear boundaries that clearly separate the both terms. Traditionally, the linguistic semanticist is interested in the meanings of words and not in non-linguistic facts about the word. Semanticist has often made the assumption that non-linguistic facts are not particularly relevant to the study of linguistic meaning. That is, the meanings conveyed by the sense relation of the words within the language itself, as opposed to meaning conveyed by information from the context or situation in which the language is used. Let's take a look at the definitions below between dictionary and encyclopedia. A dictionary describes the senses of predicates, and an encyclopedia contains factual information of a variety of types, but generally no information specifically on the meanings of words. Most ordinary dictionaries occasionally stray into the domain of encyclopedias, giving information not strictly relevant to the bare senses of words. The following comparison between some entries from the Concise Oxford Dictionary with the corresponding entries in Webster's New Collegiate Dictionary, 1959 edition, shows the illustration of dictionary which strayed into the domain of encyclopedias. Webster's entries are more encyclopedic than the Oxford, and the reason, you can take a look at the underlined information which shows which part that seems to be irrelevant to the sense of the word defined. If you want to read the comparison in detail for your further understanding, you can find it on page 201 up to 202. Now, to end the discussion in this first session, we will mention one final goal that both ordinary dictionary writers and descriptive semanticists may try to achieve, namely the completeness of coverage. According to Hurford et al., in the area of coverage completeness, the ordinary dictionary easily outstrips the semanticists. However, it is not possible at this stage in their book to give exercises to show in detail why this is so. But it is a relevant fact that ordinary informal dictionary writing has a centuries-long tradition to build upon, whereas the devising of dictionaries by semantic theorists working to exacting standards of logical rigor is an enterprise begun within the last century. In other words, the dictionary constructed by non-semanticist is having the advantage of having a early start compared with the dictionary constructed by the semanticist. I think that's all from me. Thousands pardon if there is any mistakes or inconvenience during this first session. Now for the last part, we will take a look at the example of journal article that discusses about the notion of dictionary in the field of semantics as the topic of analysis that is going to be delivered by our lovely friend, the one and only, Mr. Depati Alvio GH. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Before we start for our presentation today, I want to introduce myself. My name is Depati Alvio. I am the second speaker after my friend Mr. Nurhaman speaker. We are from 16 group. Okay, this is I want to explain about the journal article analysis for dictionaries. Okay, we can start. Okay, this is article. The writer is Raoul and Smith and Edward Maxwell. So the title of this article, Computerized Synthetic and Semantic Processing System. Okay, this is introduction. You can read about this article. Until recently, much of the interesting research in lexicology has been carried out in the Soviet Union. The Soviets have long been concerned with automated language processing and attribute the lack of the success at this test to the lack of a sophisticated lexical theory. Okay, this is article. The purpose from this article. The purpose of the study was to build a large-scale dictionary one of English, which will incorporate important recent research into language structure and which will have the potential of being used either as part of a computerized natural language using system or as a large database itself a source for further synthetic semantic studies. Okay. There are a number of specific problems that anyone who constructs a large-scale computerized dictionary must resolve. For the first, a computerized dictionary must incorporate additional types of data than is available in standard dictionaries, since standard dictionaries and some of their computerized counterparts define words in terms of other words. They are of necessary circular. In addition, the efficiency of any system will depend on the size and form of the dictionary. Any usable scale dictionary of English probably would have to contain at least 200,000 entries, or including inflected forms. So the purpose dictionary is combinator because it is primarily intended to display the combinatorial properties of words. It is explanatory because the synthetic government patterns are semantically interpreted with the goal of providing idiomatic expression of any given meaning. So, in analyzing the data, the researcher implements several steps such as by hand or including a real-time text editing scheme, so interactively and by automated processing of a standard dictionary. Okay, the first method is obvious. The first method is obvious. So as for method the second, what better source than the disambiguate parsers or format transcript of V7 and MPD, the Merriam Pocket Dictionary, which is also on type, is there likely to be in the near future for obtaining semantic data pertaining to the English vocabulary as well. We feel that there is a better source, at least for the kind of information that we are interested in, and that is the native speaker of English. As to method the search, we have been influenced by the word of one of the likes group and one of the most potentially successful successful group involved in automating the process of lexicon construction from standard dictionaries with system development comparison. Okay, this is the contents of the contents of the lexicon. The purpose of this section is to describe in specific detail what our dictionaries will look like and how we plan to incorporate the data discussed in the previous section. Okay, this is the first. We propose to the back following systematic semantic synthetic-semantic information on nouns, verb, adjective, and adverb, which will sum to be crucial. Okay, this is the first. There is entry word, part of speech, semantic fake, dictionary definition, irregular inflectional morphology, and other. So we can see the example. The example, the simple noun. From simple noun, the entry words is man, semantic verb is person, part of speech, example is noun, dictionary definition and other male, like that. So the simple verb entry, entry word, example fit, so part of speech, there is verb, dictionary definition, there is too much in order to have a technical sensation. Okay, next. Okay, the innovation that we propose to implement in this computerized dictionary that will allow use to structure and store all of the information discussed above efficiently and accurately is that of the semantic field. Semantic field. Okay, the theory of semantic field is not known. What is new is the use of this concept to structure semantic information. Its most appealing characteristic is that it eliminates the need for redundant information or the problem with the filter approach, which is widely used, and it makes retrieval much more efficient. First, we will discuss the motivation for such a system as a model for semantic structure. So this is psycholinguistic and anthropological data therefore point to the reality of organization into semantic fields and success of information retrieval schemes has often been tied into a division of the semantic universe into fields. It would seem not only an obvious desideratum but a sine qua non in dictionary to insert information of semantic field. Once the data has been recorded so that all words are completely defined, Writer will eliminate redundant information so that strong of direction can be accomplished most economical. The elimination of redundancy will be done by means of structuring the data in a specific way. Okay, this is the references. The references from Hartford, G.R. Hurley, B. and Smith, B. 2007, Semantic Course Book, New York Cambridge University, and Smith, R. and Maxwell, it 1973, an English dictionary for computerized syntactic and semantic processing system, or calling computational and mathematical linguistic proceeding of the International Conference and computational linguistic. Okay, thank you very much for your attention.